The CT Toys Amazing Spider-Man. This is one that I've been wanting to get my hands on ever since I got my brand tan suit Wolverine from CT. I was watching Out of the Basement Sunday Lazy Sunday live stream, and Nate was showing it off back at the end of 2024, sometime in December, and I literally ordered it off AliExpress while he was showing it off on the stream, and I was really impressed with the quality of CT Toys. I've covered bootlegs and knockoffs here on my channel before. They're actually some of my best performing videos on my channel. So I'm no stranger to knockoffs, or I don't turn my nose up to any kind of bootleg. If it's a decent price and the reviews and the look is there, and I'm gonna dip my toes in the water. And this is one that I couldn't wait on, man. This is, as you can see, it's a very 90s Todd McFarlane comic inspired look of Spidey here. And this is basically a knockoff of a Mafex figure. You can see that the packaging is pretty similar, but really stoked to have this. To give you a quick look at the top, packaging is really nice. Again, I've had numerous pleasant experiences with AliExpress. I have no complaints. I know some people always wonder if it's worth going through them or not, and people always think that they just have bootlegs and etc. And they actually don't. They actually do have legit, like, certified merchandise that just either didn't make it to the shelf due to packaging or pain, or like just that they didn't think it was quality enough to sell. So it's, a lot of the times they're really just factory rejects a lot of the time, that these KOs. And don't get me wrong, a lot of the ones on AliExpress you can find KOs, but that being said, it's not just bootleg material or figures. But with that being said, let me quit flapping my gums and let's get this thing open. Comes with a Mafex style stand, just like the CT Wolverine. These are actually really nice, decent stands here. And here's a full look of Spidey out of the box. And you can see here we have not 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but 6 pairs of alt hands, not even including the pair that comes on it. So basically 7 pairs of hands, an alt head, and then also these other web effects. It looks like we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or 6 different other web effects here. So really looking forward to seeing how these handle with the figure, and also just how the figure itself feels, the plastic and the articulation and stuff like that. I think this is to be the easiest way to show off the alt hands and feet. And you can see here, the feet and the hands, these hands have magnets here, which I guess is so you can utilize him putting them on metal surfaces so he can actually stick. So that's actually pretty rad. So you can see there we have 2 hands with the magnets and 2 feet with the magnet in the toe and in the heel. So that is actually pretty freaking rad, man. You see here we have 2 open hand gestures. A lot of hands here, man. It's kind of overwhelming, to be honest with you, but overall the figure itself looks really freaking good, man. It's got sculpted web lines here. They're also painted. Paint looks very clean, very vibrant, so I'm pretty stoked, man. And here are all the alt webs that come with Spidey too. They actually have a really cool, like, neat sculpt to them. You can see how it's kind of like braided and it's like intertwined. Very cool looking detail here. Not exactly sure how to use these. I don't know if do these hook on to stuff. I'm not exactly sure. I'll probably have to see how people utilize these accessories. I've never had web accessories with my Spideys before. Here's the other alt head that comes with figure. This one, the eyes are a little bit almost like he's pissed or focusing on something. But these sculpted web lines, I'm super impressed with how clean they are. They all line up, they all match up, they're all painted. Very clean, very nice, man. So I just messed around with them for a few minutes, and wow, dude, you can definitely get some crazy poses out of this guy. It is definitely no Mafex. The joints are very squeaky, but that being said, man, it moves so well. I am extremely pleased and impressed with how it moves. There's a couple missing bits of paint here that I'm going to show down here to you in just a second, but I got this thing for 14 bucks, man, and for $14 you just really can't complain all that much, you know. Like, this is a really cool looking figure, and the sculpted web lines just really do it for me. The paint on here is fairly clean. This is the big eyes. This is very 90s Todd McFarlane Spider-Man. Like, he's more of like a gymnast or like a swimmer build here, and the colors here just look really good. The blue is very nice. It goes with the red perfectly, but let's go ahead and get on into this figure, man. So, double ball joint here at the neck. So you can get some insane, absolutely insane range of motion out of the head of the neck. So there's a ball joint here at the base of the neck and the base of the skull. So you can see all that crazy motion you're getting out of not only the head, but the neck as well. You can also get some nice tilt, nice side to side here out of Spidey. Like a lot, man. It's really cool. He can look up very far. He can also look down quite a bit as well. We got some butterfly joints in here, not too shabby. Pretty decent range of motion, not bad. And then for the arms, so a little bit of a, that's all right. So you got to be careful. It just kind of wants to pull out, but you can see here, he can get almost a Y position if you really put his arms right. So that's pretty nice right there, man. Really up high, nice range of motion in the shoulder joints here. We also have bicep swivel and a double hinge elbow, so you can get that forearm to touch that bicep beautifully. That is ridiculous, dude. Absolutely ridiculous. Look at that. That's crazy. That's awesome. And looking at the hands here, it looks like we have a vertical hinge of some sort. Yeah, some kind of vertical hinge. You can even turn it to a horizontal hinge. You can see there. Almost like a McFarlane joint here. They're also spin 360 degrees as well as the arms. A little hairy, but you can do it, of course. Then get into, there's also a diaphragm coat. No big deal. That's just how it goes, man. Look, pops right back on there. But you can actually get some really nice. So there's a cut here at the diaphragm and the waist. So this is something that Marvel Legends could learn from, is by having a ball joint not only at the diaphragm but at the waist as well. You can get really nice swivel and some really insane side to side, as you can see. Like a lot of range of motion here. He can bend forward all the way. He can also look back quite a decent amount. A lot of range of motion in the crunch joint, ab crunch here. So there's also swivel at the diaphragm as well as the waist. So that's really insane. Something that Marvel Legends can learn from for sure is by putting a ball joint here at the waist. That would just, being able to do this side bend like that for a dynamic character like Spidey is a must-have. So with this figure, we do have the drop-down hips. So you can see this dumbbell joint going through the pelvic region here. And you can see you can tuck it up right in there, get a nice, clean, seamless look. Or if you want to get his leg to kick up higher than that, you just very lightly pull that hip down, and you can see you can get way more range of motion here. Like, look at that, dude. That's insane. That's really badass. And the same thing goes for the kickback as well. Get some really insane kickback. And then again, both of these sides do drop down. So the drop down hips is very, very nice. And you can see in here, I'm trying to get this in focus. You can just see how this dumbbell joint in here works. Very, very nice. It's almost like it's a dumbbell joint going through onto a ball socket. So that's really interesting, man. So you're also going to have some thigh swivel due to it being on that ball joint, on that ball socket onto the dumbbell joint. This is really interesting articulation, honestly. So you can get a lot of decent range out of the thigh swivel here. Not a whole lot, but not a little bit either. That's pretty, I wouldn't even say not a whole lot. That's a pretty decent range of thigh motion right there. It's going to be enough. It's going to matter when you're posing it, that's for sure. And then getting onto the knee, let me get this back in focus real quick. Getting back to the double hinge knee, you can get that calf to touch that hamstring, no issues at all. So cool, man. This is how you want your Spidey to move. Legs go down a fair amount, and they also come up a fair amount, and there's even toe articulation. How cool is that? So overall, man, this is a really, really badass looking, just absolutely super, super fun figure. I'm gonna have to mess around with the hands here, but you can just see what kind of, oh, there he goes. But see, there's that ball joint here at the waist. Marvel Legends would really benefit from doing this with their Spider-Man figures. And then it goes right back together, but you can just already see the kind of range of motion you can get out of this figure, man. Like, it's really, really nice. And another thing with this dumbbell hip joint, you can get a full split, no problem. Just getting a closer look at the sculpt here, you can see these sculpt lines just look absolutely badass, dude. So phenomenal. But you can also see there's a little bit of missing paint here on the butterfly joints and and one thing I will say too is this thing really does pop out quite a lot, so you just want to be careful while handling this for sure. But for 14 bucks, man, I really just like, I'm very, very excited to have this figure. I'm not even going to lie to you. A little bit of missing paint here on the back of the neck as well. Right along in there. Again, nothing too egregious, man. Like, this is, for $14, you just can't beat this, honestly. Sculpt looks really, really good on here, man. I love the big eyes, the big Todd McFarlane style eyes. Again, the musculature just looks right. Really awesome, awesome figure. Would have been really cool if they had boot swivel right here. And it's also kind of hard to tell on camera, but you can tell that this plastic on the knees is a slightly different shade of blue than what's on the rest of the figure here. Again, it's hard to notice on camera, and honestly in person I just noticed it while really taking a closer look at it. It's really not that bad, but it is a slightly different shade. You can see this awesome shot here. We have the CT Toys Amazing Spider-Man next to the CT Toys Brown and Tan Suit Wolverine. More like a brown and yellow more than a tan, but either way, this figure gets the job done. Both of these figures have some really nice articulation and movement. They also have very decent paint as well. And honestly, they kind of scale well together too. These are very like good comic representations of both of these characters. And I'm just impressed with not only the paint and the sculpt, but also the articulation and how they move. Obviously, like I said, this is not a Mafex, don't expect it. This Wolverine was 22 bucks or 20 bucks and some change, and then like I said, I got this Spider-Man for like less than 15 bucks. So like for that price, you know, you just really can't complain in my opinion. And you're still getting really cool representation for these characters. And I don't know, man, they do what they need to for me. They look awesome. They're fun to pose around and play with. They come with a bunch of accessories, so posability options are just so, I'm not going to say endless, but the possibilities are very, very many, man. And I just really like it, this double jointed pen look. It's very clean, man. Both of these figures have their issues, like the slightly small ball joints at the waist and diaphragm for both of these figures. They want to pop out regularly, but other than that, for the most part, these figures hold up well. This is not like a Hasbro action figure. Like if it falls, you might just want to be careful with these, that's for sure. But overall, man, I'm really having a lot of fun with both of these figures. If you'd like to learn more about CT Toys, be sure to go check out Action Display on YouTube. He's got a awesome channel, and he covers a lot of bootlegs and knockoff figures. And he is very knowledgeable about CT Toys. I don't know if he has an insider or what, but I think he has a pretty good connection with them, and he gets all kind of cool figures, and he does a lot of great reviews. He actually turned Nate onto this Wolverine, and then thus turned me onto it from a Lazy Sunday live stream. So you can see he's definitely reached out, and he's actually working up a logo for me. And shout out to Commander Cook. He is kind of guiding me his direction, so I'm super stoked to get my own official logo from Action Display, because Commander Cook's looks absolutely badass. So shout out to Action Display. If you want to learn more about CT Toys, be sure to go check out his channel. And check out one of the web accessories here. This looks absolutely badass. Now the execution is, I see the idea, it's a little lacking, because you can see it's almost like a web bracelet. The way it goes around his wrist, it's a little bit noticeable. If they had like painted this, I'm not sure if this is even how this is meant to be used, but if this was like, this little loop was painted red where you hook it onto the peg before you plug the alt hand back in there, it would kind of blend in with the suit a little bit more and just look like, just leave this part white. But other than that, I think I might actually leave this on there. It looks really freaking cool. Other than the, like I said, just that slight white showing around the wrist, or the way it's wrapped around, I don't like that. But the idea is there. It was just the execution that was slightly lacking. Like I said, this might not even be the right way you use this accessory. I just thought it looked cool. And also, personally, I like to keep my CT boxes because I like to keep the accessories in with the box. Honestly, you could probably just throw all these into a plastic baggie, but I just kind of like the way that the packaging looks with these, so I just keep them in the box preferably. So if you've been waiting for an opportunity to pick up something from AliExpress, I highly recommend it. This figure, I'm kind of blown away. For 14 bucks, you just really can't complain. Obviously, like, the joints might pop off a little bit. It might be a little bit flimsy, missing paint, etc., etc. But to be honest with you, this one is not quite like most bootlegs that I handle. Now, I will say this left butterfly joint and then the abdomen pieces, they kind of pop out, but it's only when you try to really maximize the range of motion. But once you start kind of figuring out how everything moves or whatever, it kind of just stays together. But I will say it does pop apart quite easily. Something that they could have done is all the ball sockets. They could have made the ball joints a little bit thicker and bigger, and it would have given you a little bit more range of motion out of whether it's these shoulder joints or the waist and diaphragm swivel. But either way, the paint on this thing is fairly clean. It's fairly decent. I'd say overall, like the sculpt lines, they all match up. They're all very clean. There is some slight missing paint. I'd say maybe like 5 or 10% of the figure of the web lines isn't like fully saturated with black paint. That's a minor nitpick. Other than that, but the way that it moves, man, I'm thoroughly impressed and pleased with it. And I can't get over how the sculpted web lines. I just think I have an old 2000 Toy Biz Spider-Man that is the same exact, not the exact figure that me and my brother had, but very similar to one that me and my brother had growing up. This kind of gives me a lot of Toy Biz vibes with the double joint. Now, granted, these are pinless, so is Toy Biz back in the day, but pinless double joints, the toe articulation, insane butterfly, maybe not insane butterfly joints, but really decent butterfly joints. The one thing that I will say that is insane is the double jointed elbows and knees. You can get the forearms to touch the biceps, you can get your calves to touch your hamstrings, no problem. But then something else that I really liked was the double joint ball peg that's in the neck and the head. So as I said earlier in the review, there's a ball joint here at the base of the neck and the skull. And what that allows you to do is you can get a lot more range of motion. You don't just turn your head, your neck is also a joint as well, as like along with your vertebrae. So you should be able to move it in a 360-degree range of motion, and now you can do that with get some cool expression while you got like a mid web swing pose or something like that, or even like really cool action shots. But that being said, the one thing that I will say as well is the accessories. The hands are very small, but I feel like in proportion, it looks pretty decent. It's funny because I said this is kind of styled and modeled after a 90s comic style Todd McFarlane Spider-Man, so the feet maybe or the hands look a little bit small. It don't really bother me that much because Todd McFarlane's drawings, his art style he got a lot of crap for his proportions, but at the same time, like, it just works. Like, he's one of the most prolific, well-known comic artists of all time, but yet everybody said that he was never going to make it because his proportions weren't accurate and yada yada yada. But man, I'm really impressed with this figure. If you're not really wanting to try to drop 100, 110, 20 bucks on a Mafex Spider-Man, for $14, dude, I just don't think you just can't go wrong. And like I said, at that price, you really can't complain too much. So what, the joints kind of pop out, or there's some slightly missing paint, whatever. This still is great representation for like a 90s comic Spider-Man. I love this kind of more like slimmer, like swimmer gymnastic build that he's got here. But I think this is a really fantastic figure. Obviously, it's no Marvel Legends, it's no Mafex, of course not. That's not. But for $14, man, and for having representation on your shelf, I think this is one of the better knockoff Spider-Man figures you can buy, in my opinion. But y'all, I'm gonna stop the video there because I'll keep rambling on. Check out my main YouTube channel, my main page for channel memberships. I have a couple different tiers. I have a 99-cent tier, $2.99, and $4.99. If you're in a position to support, obviously it's not mandatory or necessary at all. Just by you watching, liking, commenting, and subscribing is plenty enough for me, and I am extremely grateful and thankful for all that. But I hope you're all having a great day or night whenever you're watching this. May the force be with you. Thank you for watching.